It began with a shortcut. The night was drowned in rain, the sky stitched apart by veins of lightning, the countryside swallowed by fog so thick that even the high beams of Daniel's car seemed to dissolve into nothing. He had been driving for hours, coming back from a late business trip, his eyelids heavy, his bones aching with exhaustion. His GPS had been glitching since he left the highway, recalculating routes over and over until it finally locked onto a single direction, a narrow gray line cutting through the woods, a road unmarked and unfamiliar. Daniel didn't remember ever seeing it before. But the sign that pointed toward it looked old, rusted with age, the letters worn away by time and storms. He should have ignored it, should have stuck to the main road, but the thought of shaving 30 minutes off his journey was too tempting. So he turned. The asphalt was cracked, the yellow lines long faded, swallowed by creeping moss. On either side, ancient trees stood like silent guardians, their branches knotted and black against the night sky. Rain dripped steadily from their limbs, and with every mile Daniel drove, the air seemed to grow heavier, colder, as if he were descending into another world. The radio, which had been whispering old rock songs, fizzed into static. He jabbed the button, but the noise only grew worse, like voices churning underwater, fragments of words almost surfacing before vanishing back into the crackle. His phone had lost its signal minutes ago, the screen useless, mocking. He gripped the wheel tighter, trying to ignore the unease spreading in his chest. It was just a road, he told himself. Just an old, forgotten road. But then came the signpost. At first, he barely noticed it, a crooked wooden post sticking up from the mud, pointing left. He thought nothing of it until, 5 minutes later, another appeared, exactly the same. Same tilt, same broken arrow, same faded red paint clinging stubbornly to the wood. He frowned, glancing in the mirror, but the rain and fog had erased everything behind him. 10 minutes later, the same sign appeared again. Daniel's heart thudded. He leaned closer to the windshield, his breath fogging the glass. He wasn't imagining it. The same sign kept appearing, no matter how far he drove. He pressed the gas harder, tires hissing against wet asphalt. His pulse beat faster, the edges of his thoughts fraying with panic. He tried to convince himself it was a coincidence. Maybe there were multiple signposts. Maybe the county had built them years ago. But deep down, he knew. He was looping. The same road. The same trees. The same sign. Over and over. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw it, a figure in the trees. He jerked the wheel slightly, heart leaping into his throat. A person, no, several, standing between the trunks, pale against the darkness. They didn't move. Didn't flinch. Just stood there, faces hidden in shadow, watching. Daniel blinked. They were gone. He drove faster, eyes darting between the road and the woods, his knuckles bone-white against the wheel. The rain fell harder, drumming against the roof, and the fog pressed closer, like a curtain drawing shut around him. That's when he saw the car. It was half hidden in a ditch, its metal skeleton twisted and rusted, weeds growing up through shattered windows. The headlights were long dead, the license plate eaten by rust. Daniel slowed, his stomach knotting as his beams washed over it. Something about the sight pulled at him, gnawed at his nerves. Against his better judgment, he stopped. The rain hammered against the hood, lightning splitting the sky. He stepped out, shoes sinking into the mud, the cold seeping through his clothes. The abandoned car sat like a carcass, the door half open, creaking with the wind. Inside, the air smelled of rot and mold. The seats were shredded, glass littering the floor. On the dashboard lay a book, leather-bound, swollen with damp. A journal. He picked it up, wiping grime from the cover. The pages were warped, the ink smudged, but words bled through. The road won't let us leave. Every turn leads us back. The voices are in the trees. If you see them, don't stop. Don't look at their faces. The page ended with a streak of black, like ink spilled in panic. Daniel's pulse raced. He slammed the journal shut, dropping it onto the seat. A gust of wind slammed the car door shut behind him with a bang that echoed like a gunshot through the forest. The figures were back. They stood at the edge of the trees now, pale shapes unmoving, their faces hidden, their bodies blurred by the mist. Daniel staggered back, breath clouding, heart pounding in his ears. He yanked open his own car door and dove inside, locking it with trembling hands. His headlights cut through the rain, but the figures didn't move. They just stood there, watching. The engine roared as he hit the gas, mud spraying as his tires gripped the road. He didn't look back. He didn't dare. But the feeling didn't leave him. The weight of eyes pressing against his back. The certainty that, no matter how far or fast he drove, they would still be there. Minutes passed. The road stretched endlessly ahead. His phone buzzed suddenly, making him flinch. He grabbed it with shaking fingers, but the screen was blank. No call. No message. Just static flickering across the display, like the radio. Then he heard it. A voice. Faint at first, like someone whispering under their breath. It came from the radio, weaving through the static. His name. Daniel. His blood froze. He slammed the power button, silencing the car, but the voice didn't stop. It was inside the static, inside the silence, curling into his ears. Daniel, you shouldn't be here. The wheel slipped in his wet hands. He clutched it tighter, teeth grinding, sweat trickling down his neck despite the cold. His heart was a wild drum. The road didn't end. The sign appeared again. The same crooked wood, the same broken arrow. And this time, nailed to it, dripping with rain, was a photograph. Daniel's photograph. Taken tonight. His own car. His own face. Staring back at him through the glass. Daniel's breath came in sharp bursts, fogging the windshield as his eyes locked on the photograph. The rain smeared its surface, but the image was unmistakable, his car, his face, staring at himself from only moments ago. His stomach lurched. He pressed the accelerator harder, the engine growling in protest. The road twisted, deeper and darker, trees clawing over the asphalt like skeletal hands. Lightning split the sky, and for a fraction of a second, the world lit up in blinding white, revealing them. Dozens now. Figures lining both sides of the road, shoulder to shoulder, pale and rigid, their heads tilting in unison as his car sped between them. Their faces, if they had faces, were a blur of shifting flesh, features that melted and twisted like candle wax. No eyes. No mouths. Just empty, pulsing skin. Daniel screamed, swerving, but the road never widened. The figures pressed closer, brushing against the car, their hands smearing long, wet streaks across the windows. The radio sparked back to life, shrieking static, and through it came the voice again. You should never have turned here. His pulse thundered. He pounded the dashboard, desperate. What do you want from me? The voice hissed, almost laughing. You're already ours. The headlights flickered. The road ahead rippled, as if the world itself was bending, folding in on him. The trees twisted into shapes that made no sense, roots writhing like serpents, branches arching into impossible patterns. Time itself seemed to stretch and snap. He slammed the brakes, tires skidding on wet pavement, the car jerking violently to a stop. His chest heaved, heart battering his ribs. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't think. And then he saw it. Another car. Parked in the middle of the road, headlights off, silent as a tomb. Its shape was familiar. Too familiar. It was his car. Every dent, every scratch, every smear of mud identical. The same license plate. The same broken wiper blade. Inside, through the fogged glass, sat himself. Daniel stared, unable to move, as the other version of him turned its head slowly, mechanically, until their eyes locked. His double's face stretched into something unnatural, the mouth splitting wider and wider, peeling open into a grin that tore the skin. The voice on the radio spoke again, layered now, dozens of whispers overlapping, all speaking as one. There is no way out. The figures stepped closer, their faceless heads pressing against his windows, their hands slapping the glass in rhythmic unison. His double inside the other car laughed silently, the sound echoing inside Daniel's skull though no lips moved. Daniel gripped the wheel one last time, tears stinging his eyes, and slammed the accelerator. The engine roared, tires screeched, the car hurtled forward into blinding white light. And then, silence. The rain stopped. The fog lifted. Daniel's car sat empty on the abandoned road. The driver's side door hung open, swinging gently in the night breeze. His phone lay on the seat, its screen flickering with static before going dark. The crooked signpost still stood at the bend, its arrow pointing endlessly forward. Nailed to it now was a new photograph, fresh and wet with rain. Daniel. Standing on the roadside. His face blurred, featureless. Watching. Crescent moon the end.